All right, so I am finally back. I have returned to the YouTube scene because the New York Mets have actually played 2 days in a row, which has been pretty rare this season. I mean, there have been two storylines. Number one, the Mets starting rotation, which has been fantastic. This was the case again today as we saw Marcus Stroman pitch very, very well, and also just games being canceled, whether it is due to guys being sick, rain, snow, or whatever. Two main games have been canceled. So every time I want to stream, no game. But now that today was the day I could stream, we had a game. It was an intense game. It was stressful, but the New York Mets get the victory, and they remain in first place in the National League East. What is up, Hydro 2.0? That definitely was a bit of an exciting game, and what a crazy finish, a terrific throw by James McCann to get Trevor Story stealing. Trevor Story is a very good base runner. They talked about in the telecast, led the National League in stolen bases last year. So, I mean, that's a guy that's not easy to throw at. Edwin Diaz not known for being able to get runners out when they're stealing on him, but he threw a 101-mile-per-hour pitch. I feel like that goes kind of unnoticed because Diaz throughout this outing was hovering around 99, 99, but then at that 101, that's where McCann threw him out. Where have you been, man? Missed your content. I've been very busy, Elijah, and I swear to you, Elijah, every single time I'm going to stream, boom, the Mets had the game canceled, so I didn't. But if they could play consistently, you'll see me more often. Worst team in baseball, and Mets barely won 2 games. I mean, that's true, Ty, but you know what? They won those games against the Phillies, some against the Marlins or whatever. So, listen, wins are wins. Obviously, the offense is not clicking right now. There is no question about it. Hi, Frank. What a series and ending. So happy for the series. Yes, Marco, everything is okay. I just started a second job, honestly. So I've been working 2 jobs. So, I mean, yeah, Andrew, what is up, my man? And what is up, everybody? So, I mean, everything is good. I'm healthy, but again, just been super, super busy. But it's hard to believe the first time that the Mets, yes, exactly, Fernando, the New York Mets winning series. That's the thing that matters, whether it's by 1 run, 2 runs, whether it's by 10 runs. The way the regular season goes, especially in the 162, just try to win as many series as you can. Colorado is a tough place. It's hard to win the entire series. It's a ballpark that is just so unforgiving, so many unknowns. And the fact that, they had the snow and the doubleheader and things like that. To get out of this series with the win, you definitely will take it. I'm Blue Man and YouTube Man. I changed his name. I kind of figured, Marco, with the picture, but I mean, whatever your name is, you're always a supporter. So I definitely appreciate that. And, again, the storyline today is just Marcus Stroman. He continues to pitch very well. We kind of expected that, knowing that he is in the contract year on the 1-year deal. So Marcus Stroman has to show what he's capable of because he talks a big game. I mean, you see him. Every time Marcus Stroman does something big, he lets everybody know. He's out there showboat. He's out there styling, profiling. But, I mean, if he really wants to get paid, he has to do it throughout the entirety of the season. You can't just give me one good month, a few good starts. Marcus Stroman's do it through the entirety of the season. And then depending on what happens with Noah Syndergaard and Michael Conforto, the New York Mets could decide what they want to do there. Hi, Jupiter. What's up? Yeah, exactly, Dave. It doesn't matter who we win or how we do it, happy to take the series. Exactly. And you know what? The New York Mets had so many tough losses last year. 2020 was a disappointing year. But it's just good to see them winning some ball games. And it has not been the prettiest of fashion, no question about it. This offense has got to get rolling. I mean, this is a team that when you look at that lineup, you see the lineup, and you look at all these players, you expect them to put together more runs. They haven't been able to do that yet. And I think the main reason for that is just how many days they get off. I mean, how about Stroman? He looks very good. I know you changed your name as well, Jupiter from Mars Gaming. I got you. But, yeah, I mean, I just think the fact that, you play a couple of games, you're trying to get a rhythm, but then, boom, you're off for 3 days. You're off for 2 days. So I think it makes it tough for guys like Alonso or Lindor or McNeil, Conforto, McCann, all these guys to get a rhythm. What's up, Steve C? I mean, that play by Stroman was hilarious, but great. It was, Elijah. I mean, when Stroman went behind the back, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Then when he just threw it to the ground and bounced and rolled to Alonso, I thought they were going to be safe for sure. I was like, oh, my God, what is that? But definitely was crazy. They are doing well. Hey, they are winning with good pitching. Some of us imagine when we were rolling. Exactly, Andrew. You do hope that, as long as the starting pitching maintains what it's doing, the New York Mets could definitely have a really, really good season. I mean, you could see the improvement from last year from the pitching. I mean, that's what cost the Mets last year mostly was the starting pitching. Far too many times you would have the Rick Porcello, the Michael Wacha, the Gazelman, Oswald, whoever was on the mound for the Mets they would just give up a bunch of runs, and your starting pitcher's only giving you 3 innings, 4 innings. But the fact that Marcus Stroman gives you 8 innings, he gives you 6 innings, DeGrom gives you 8 innings, 7 innings, things like that. I mean, you really are saving your bullpen, keeping the team in games, and you're just getting a run here or there, and that's all you're really needing. So as long as this offense, like I said, could get rolling, I mean, the Mets have a really good chance. So far, the Braves are not off to a hot start, so that's big as well. I mean, that definitely helps. Mets are playing well. Braves aren't. So, I mean, right now you have a very tiny lead in the division, but just got to keep it going. Again, win as many series as you can. That's how it goes in the 162. We can get to 95, Z. I mean, we're on a good pace so far. The rotation is great. It does look very good. You see that range from Gold Glove Nimmo. I did see it, Andrew. That definitely was very nice. That play by the wall. I'm glad that Nimmo was able to make that catch and stop his face just shy of the wall. This way he did not get injured because, I mean, you love a web gem, but you don't want to get hurt afterwards. I mean, saw Jeff McNeil do that last year against the Nationals. It will be elite when Carrasco and Syndergaard come back healthy. I agree, Mars/Jupiter. I mean, that definitely is a really exciting aspect of it. And Carrasco should be back pretty soon, maybe like 2 weeks. We could get Carlos Carrasco back in the mix, and then hopefully move Joey Lucchesi to the pen. And then you probably have to get rid of either Gazelman or Jacob Barnes. I mean, it's not good for Barnes that in both of his outings he has given up 3-run homers. So you kind of want to stop giving up the long ball. I mean, that's something that really could sink a team. And I just found it interesting that Luis Rojas decided to go to Jacob Barnes when you had a fully rested Miguel Castro and Trevor May and all these other guys. So, I mean, you do want to get your other relievers into the game, let them get some work in. But Jacob Barnes really has got to perform better. By the time Drew Smith or someone else is ready, he's probably going to be gone. What did the Mets do, Steve C? Well, I mean, you know what? They got to run early, a little bit of small ball. Jeff McNeil with the RBI ground out. And then, you had J.D. Davis get a little bit of a jam shot for a base hit to bring in a run. So, I mean, that's all there was from the offensive end. Mets had a good amount of opportunities. They did not get the runners home, whether it was, McNeil trying to stretch a double to a triple, all the strikeouts. The Mets did win, William. The New York Mets won this game against the Colorado Rockies 2-1. So it definitely was a big-time pitcher's duel, so to speak. Diaz is better. I mean, yes, Edwin Diaz does look very good so far. I mean, that is huge for this team because obviously the rotation is pitching well, so the bullpen maintaining the lead is so important. When do we get to say we are the best team in NY, Andrew? Probably at the end of the season. I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up. Yankees are not off to a good start. Mets are, but it's so early in the season. It's such a long season, and we've seen the Mets do well in April plenty of times before. If the Mets are doing this in June, in July, then we could talk. Then we're like, all right, the New York Mets are really onto something. Rojas dropped the ball last night. I've been more defensive of him than most people, but he lost us the game yesterday. Yeah, I mean, Z, the problem is that the Mets were losing once Jacob Barnes came in, and then Barnes made matters worse. Now let's just say that another reliever came in and, the Mets maintained that 3-2 score. Do the Mets then score runs? I'm not too sure. Herman Marquez was really in the zone last night. He was striking out a lot of hitters. Mets were only able to get together a couple of hits. So, I mean, I think regardless what reliever the Mets went to, were they going to get offense? We really don't know. But the main thing is that, they made up for that by winning today, because after that you were at a split. So, I mean, the fact that they're able to win, that was really good. Are you going to do a live stream tomorrow? No, William, because the Mets aren't playing tomorrow. They are playing Tuesday against the Chicago Cubs. I'm thinking there may be a stream. We will see. I mean, I hope so. I really would like to get back on the grind a little more frequently. So I'm hoping that I could do a stream on Tuesday. Lucchesi and Peterson are young and have minor league options. That is true. Eventually, one of those guys will be going down to the minor leagues, and we'll see who it will be. I mean, originally I thought it would be David Peterson, but Peterson pitched tremendous against the Philadelphia Phillies. I loved what I saw in that start. And Lucchesi wasn't too bad last night. He gave up 3 runs in the first inning where he hasn't pitched in 10 days. I know it's Colorado and things like that. So, I mean, I'm sure these guys will both get multiple starts, and then they can kind of decide, who should be in the bullpen, who goes to the minor leagues. It was 4 degrees last night. I think Rojas just conceded the game. I mean, maybe tie. It's really tough when you're in a doubleheader in Coors Field in freezing weather. It's just a really tough thing. It's hard to sweep doubleheaders in general. Like, it was a good thing that the Mets were able to win that doubleheader against Philadelphia earlier in the week. So, I mean, again, Coors Field is just such an unknown element. You never know what the heck is going to happen. And, again, you just take that series win. But, the Mets have the off day tomorrow, but you do hope that we could just get a good stretch of weather. Because if we could just play, every single day, not 2 days, not play for 2 days, these hitters could just get into that rhythm. Because you know what? They started the season, really behind the eight ball. The fact that the first 3 games got canceled, it really just put them behind. They really lost that kind of rhythm that they spent all of spring training trying to get. So I really hope that they could get it going. Anibal Sanchez is a free agent. Mets could pick him up, even use him as a bullpen guy. They could, but the thing I don't like about Anibal Sanchez is that if you're going to be a reliever, you have to be someone that's kind of lights out, not give up a lot of hits. I think Anibal Sanchez just doesn't have good enough stuff to be a reliever. Great to let May and Castro rest for 3 days thanks to the starters. That's true, Andrew, but it always could go both ways. It's like, you don't want to rest your relievers, but then if you don't work them enough, then they kind of lose their rhythm. So, that's something that's always difficult to balance. But generally speaking, you do not want to overtire those guys because, through the first part of the season, every game, it's like we have to use Castro, we have to use May. So the fact they're able to rest these guys, that definitely was good. You have the off day tomorrow, so Diaz could be rejuvenated for the Chicago Cubs series. And that's going to be a very interesting series. I'm glad that we got to see Colorado. I'm glad we're getting to see Chicago go to different ballparks, not always play these Eastern teams. That's where we get to appreciate baseball and see where the Mets match up playing against all these different teams. So I'm really excited for that series. And, you just hope that they could get the offense going. I'm excited to see Taijuan Walker again. He's been great so far. He's someone I loved all offseason. I feel like, you look at this guy's numbers. You look at his age. You look at compared to the rest of the market. Give Taijuan Walker a shot. And the Mets gave him a shot. So far, he's doing good. So you really hope he could keep that going when they go to Chicago. Cubs pitching isn't that good, and we will have to go against Hendricks' pitch today. That is very true, Benjamin. Good point. We will see Jake Arrieta, who has been one of the Cubs' better starters. That's more so a knock on the rest of the Cubs' rotation. So you hope that maybe since the Cubs' rotation is not exactly amazing right now, that could help the Mets get their offense into rhythm. I would like to see that. Jay Bruce retirement today. Yes, William. Listen, Jay Bruce, he's really been struggling this year with the Yankees. He doesn't really have too much left in the tank. So, I could see him retiring. It's kind of whatever. You feel like at some point, like once Luke Voigt is back, you don't really see Jay Bruce staying on the Yankees. Plenty of fans want to just get him off the team to begin with. So he did them a favor to some extent. David, I'm not too bothered that Rojas not tried to win the second game last night. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It was a doubleheader for Joy. Take care of your players. Yeah, David, I wasn't going crazy about it. You know what? Had the Mets scored some more, it's like, listen, if the Mets had the lead and he went to Jacob Barnes, that would have been a problem. But the fact that the Mets were behind already, it was kind of whatever. Kimbrel might be the best reliever so far. Yes, Craig Kimbrel has been very good this year compared to his past couple of seasons. So, we'll see if that continues with Craig Kimbrel. Our rotations are already discussing. We're getting Carrasco and Syndergaard back. Watch out. I agree, Eric. The rotation, it's been much improved so far, and hopefully it gets even better. So, that's huge. If you could have a really good – we saw it in 2015. If you have a really good rotation – anything could happen because you're in any game. So one defensive mishap, one big hit, one bad call by an umpire, because your starting pitchers kept you close in the game, you could then win those ball games. So, having that big rotation is so important. I thought Conforto was going to miss that ball. So I thought so too, Robert. Once Conforto fell down, I was like, oh, boy, here we go. There was a few plays like that defensively today where you're like, oh, they're going to catch it. They're going to catch it. No. What else do we have? Do you want pancakes? Not right now, William. It's nighttime. I'm more of like a morning pancake guy, but thanks for asking. Maybe tomorrow morning you want to give me some pancakes. No problem. I'll take them. Depends what flavor they are, though. Has Francisco his first homer yet? He has not, Steve, and definitely is a bit disappointing because you know what? You saw Lindor hit a few home runs at spring training once he got his rhythm going, and then right when Lindor got going, spring training ended, then you had the delay start to the season. So hopefully Lindor could get it going again. Hey, Tony's guy looked elite last night. What are you going to do? That's how it is with the Mets. You will see those things where it's up and down. So at least Robert Gsellman had a good first outing. We'll see how it goes. Gsellman could definitely be pretty inconsistent. I love the emotion the players are showing. Lindor showing vibes are definitely contagious. Yeah, no kidding. Stroman, every time he made a big play, he's skipping, he's nodding the head, he's yelling, he's pointing at the gold on the glove. So Stroman's getting excited. Lindor's fist pumping after McCann threw out the runner. So, listen, I love the energy of this team. It gets me pumped up. I love watching this young, exciting team. I'm just joking. I hope you know that. I know, William. I can take a joke. Trust me. So, it's all good, bro. But, hey, listen, I appreciate the offer for the pancakes. Anybody else got offer, I'm more than willing to take it. I could use to gain a few pounds. I need to bulk up a little bit, try to get more launch angle in my swing because I'm getting that warning track shots. But still, I just think that Brandon Nimmo, at least his on base percentage continues. I mean, that's pretty good. His on base streak. And Brandon Nimmo, he's the one hitter who really is hot right now. Other than that, nobody is hot. How about like Nimmo's defense so far? It's been fine, Z. I mean, the fact that you're playing him deep, he doesn't have to do anything. Routine fly balls. He gets to them. He catches them. That's it. Are you and Mets fans only might stream Friday? Friday. I mean, sure. I mean, if he's streaming, I'll stream too. I mean, I'll stream him on Friday if he wants to. That's no problem. When's the last time Mets were first place, Yankees last place? Probably a really long time ago, Ty, because both of those are rare. Mets being a and the Yankees being a last is rare also. I'm here because my whip is screwed in fantasy baseball. Bandwagon Mets look good. That's unfortunate, Jonathan. I mean, I don't really play baseball. I mean, a fantasy. I did hear that, Eric. I swear, if Tuesday game gets snowed out, I will be so upset. We cannot use another game canceled, Eric. Like every single place we go to, it's rain or it's snow. I'm just praying there is no snow Tuesday. That would be so bad. How you like Phillies right now, William? The Phillies have impressed me a little bit. You know what? Their goal of the offseason was to improve their bullpen because that's what hurt them last year. Their bullpen definitely has improved, and, I've been tweeting this, but Gene Segura and Alec Bohm scared the crap out of me. Every time these two guys step up to the batter's box, they do something big against the Mets. So, I mean, Philadelphia, this whole season is going to be tough. Every game against the Marlins is going to be close. Every game against the Phillies, against the Braves, they're all going to be tough. So, I mean, you're just going to have to really not make any big mistakes. As long as Rojas doesn't try to do anything stupid, anything too creative, I think the Mets should be okay. They just got to keep this rotation rolling the way it has been. Strasburg got hurt. I did see that, Benjamin. Steven Strasburg continues to have injuries for the Washington Nationals, and that could be really, really big for them because we know the Nationals, they need rotation. That's how they won the World Series, was with that rotation. Steven Strasburg, World Series MVP, and now his arm is really starting to bother him. So, I mean, the fact that Scherzer's getting older, I mean, all of a sudden, the Washington Nationals, they're in a tough spot here because, again, the division is really tough. So the Nationals, they can't afford to really have starting pitchers get hurt. They lost today to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are one of the worst teams in the National League, so that's not ideal for them. Imagine Mets kept Steven Matz. Good point, Ty. But the thing is that I don't think Steven Matz would have pitched this well with the Mets because I just believe that Steven Matz, all of his problems were mental. The fact that Steven Matz just gets to go to Toronto and just completely relax. If Steven Matz even makes a mistake, it's not a big deal. But if Steven Matz makes a mistake with the Mets, everybody's booing him because a lot of people were not fans of Steven Matz. So I think it's the fact that he just gets to relax now, be the pitcher that he's capable of. Like, we've all seen Steven Matz pitch very, very well. The problem is it just wasn't consistent enough. So I'm very, very happy to see Matz pitching well, and I hope it continues. You're facing Nimmo in fantasy, Jonathan. That's a problem because, I mean, Brandon Nimmo's putting up great fantasy numbers with that average and on-base percentage. Patrick Corbin has given up 18 runs in 5 innings. I did see that, Benjamin, the other night. I believe it was Thursday night. Patrick Corbin got bombed. That was crazy. I love the Yankees' misery. I watched their games get pumped how they watched this. Like, yeah, I've been watching the Yankee games all weekend. I love seeing Tampa beat them. That's definitely a lot of fun. Nats call pitcher Pelo Espino. Yeah, they're going to have to call up somebody. What's up, Frank McCann for the win? I agree, man. McCann, I mean, that was a rocket he threw. Like, I watched the replay back, and that ball got there so fast. And the tag by Lindor was very good. So, I mean, that's a nice way to end the ball game because I'll tell you what, with the tying run being on base and Trevor Story, who I thought was probably going to steal second kind of easily because the Mets were in a bit of a shift against the pull hitter and Charlie Blackmon. I mean, that game could have been done very quickly. I mean, Charlie Blackmon in Coors Field could just hit a Edwin Diaz hanging slider, game over, Colorado Rockies win. So the fact that McCann was able to throw him out, that was massive. And again, Diaz threw 101, so that was really impressive. I know it's so early, but do you think the Nets should win the division? Nets or Mets? I mean, the Mets can win the division, but it's still way too early. Again, and it's April. Like, if this is happening in June, then I'll predict it. But I just don't want to get my hopes too high up because don't forget when the Mets got that huge start the first year of Mickey Callaway, were they 11-1, something crazy like that? I was so excited. I was like, oh, Mickey Callaway is the best manager. Mets going to win the division. No problem. Mets are rolling. Everything's good. And they sucked that year. So I don't want to get my hopes too high up. But, let's just keep it rolling. Nats got Joe Ross tomorrow. Well, we'll see how he does. I mean, Joe Ross, he had a good start. I believe his last inning was pretty good. I really thought Blackmon hit a walk-off homer. He could have. I mean, that's for sure. Thoughts on Miguel Castro? She says it's huge, Luis, because Trevor May has not been lights out, and with the Seth Lugo injury, the Mets have really needed someone to step up and be the setup to Edwin Diaz. And Miguel Castro has been that guy so far. And if Miguel Castro keeps it up, if you could have an end of the game combination where you go Castro, Lugo, Diaz, and your rotation's pitching well, this offense is going to get going. All of a sudden, the Mets have a little bit of a chance in that division. So, I mean, so far, everything very good. Braves versus Yankees starting Tuesday. I'm torn because I hate them both. Who will you be rooting for? I have to say, David, I just want the Braves to lose. I wouldn't say I'm rooting for the Yankees, but because of how it affects the Mets, we really need the Braves to lose. I mean, if we could get the Braves in a hole to start the season, once the Mets start messing up a little bit, if the Braves record isn't amazing, the Mets could still, kind of hold ground, so to speak. So I'm rooting for the Braves to lose. But whoever loses, it's kind of a win-win for us to watch. 10-0, 2019, that was ridiculous. Braves can't pitch, remember, and the Mets rotation is only getting better. Yes, the Braves have had the rotation struggles. Max Fried's out, Soroka's still out, and then they have Wilson pitching tonight, so we'll see how he does. I'm definitely going to be watching that game, Braves-Cubs. That's a big game because we get to see the Mets' opponent, the Chicago Cubs, do a little bit of a pre-scouting for the next series. What else do we have? But they are beating the team they should. That is huge, Andrew. That's a really, really good point because you know what? So many times the Mets lose the games that they should win. But, I mean, the fact that the Colorado Rockies, they're one of the worst teams in the National League right now. They had lost a ton in a row. I mean, knowing that this is a bad team, you should beat this team, and the Mets did it, that's where you really make the Mets have a good year. That's when they do well. Joe Ross is 1-0. Phillies bullpen guy hurt Archie Bradley. Yes, I mean, but Alvarado has looked good for the Phillies pen. That guy Brogdon, whatever his name was, he was amazing against the Mets. So far, the Phillies bullpen has definitely been much better than it was last year against New Jersey. Yes. I really like Pierce after watching his last start. If he gets out of the first inning, watch I gets locked in. Exactly, Z. Once Peterson gets in the rhythm, he's a very good pitcher. I mean, like you said, once he got that scoreless first inning for the Phillies, that was all he needed to do, and then boom, he rolled. So I mean, that's the key for him. He just has to get out of that first inning, and we know what David Peterson could do. And the fact that this is a guy that eventually could be in the minor leagues, oh my gosh! I mean, you talk about just a drastic change in the rotation from last year and this year. I'm just so happy because that was the point of emphasis. You're like, okay, how can we improve from last year being a disappointing? And the fact that we were able to do that and the rotation looks so much better, I'm just thrilled. I really, really am. Mets next 3 series, Chicago, Nats, and Sox. 2 games, and Phillies, all teams should be winnable. Listen, Benjamin, the fact that with this rotation, every game is winnable. Hopefully, if this lineup gets going, we're going to be in a really, really good shape here. Okay, what else do we have? I was so relaxed watching Pearson. Yeah, he was cruising. I mean, I was relaxed watching Marcus Stroman today. He was rolling. Taijuan Walker, hopefully he pitches well Tuesday. And obviously DeGrom. I'm always relaxed watching DeGrom, but I'm not relaxed watching the Mets offense just strand a million runners on base. When we are fully healthy in a few months, if we make a signature move at the deadline, I think we're a World Series contender, not being biased. Yeah, Eric, the problem is just can we get through the Dodgers? I mean, the Dodgers are rolling right now. I feel very highly about them. They have so much pitching. I mean, David Price comes out of the bullpen for that team. So, I mean, I hope we don't face the Dodgers. Did you like the Correa idea from Thursday? I loved it, Andrew. I think Carlos Correa could be a really, really nice addition for the New York Mets. And I like what you said about the postseason experience. That was one of the main reasons why I wanted George Springer was here's a guy who's right-handed and get a bunch of big home runs in the postseason. And that's exactly what Carlos Correa did. Him and George Springer were the 2 guys that did that. And he played third base a little bit. So I would not mind seeing Correa on this team at all. So, but we'll see. What else do we have? Hello, I'm a diehard Mets fan from Queens. I'm really happy, super pumped we won. I know we have a great team, but you are very judgmental of my NY Mets. I'm not judgmental, Stephen A. I'm happy that they're winning right now. I'm thrilled. Didn't you just hear me say I'm thrilled the Mets are playing well? I'm just saying what I see. I mean, I'm not going to get my hopes up. Stephen A., you're a diehard Mets fan. You know how this goes. How many times have we seen the Mets do well in April? I just don't want to come out here and say, oh, Mets are going all the way because then I'm going to look like a dummy. So I'm just going to, keep my hopes up. I'm going to be optimistic, say, I hope the Mets keep it rolling because if they do, then I will brag about them. But, I mean, let's just keep it going, guys. Should I be worried about Dom Smith? No, Jonathan, I don't think you should be worried about any hitter quite yet because, again, these guys aren't getting their rhythm. I mean, Dom Smith hit a lot of line drives today. He hit the ball hard. But, I mean, the fact that it was hit right at fielders, especially to left field, that was a bit unfortunate. Hello, David. What else do we have? I'm going to progress a plush video for my brother's channel, which I have a lot of videos made. What's the name of your brother's channel? Mookie Betts Diamond Cash to end the game and Lindor tagging the story to end the game. Both similar endings and celebrations, very cool. I mean, yeah, that catch by Mookie Betts was absolutely tremendous. He is just like such a top echelon player. That was a very good tag by Lindor, no question. Matt Moore, not good for the Phillies. Well, he won the game against DeGrom. Nats besides Scherzer and Strasburg and Red Sox and Cubs pitching aren't that good. The Red Sox have been playing very well so far, though. So, I mean, we'll see if the Red Sox are maybe down to earth by the time it comes around. But we'll see what happens when we get there. I know, but that is not the same old Mets is what I'm saying. No, I didn't say same old Mets. I mean, so far, they definitely look a lot better. So I really hope that this is a new team. You know what I mean? The fact that it's the new owner, new everything, that this team cannot be same old Mets, that's really, fingers crossed, Stephen A. Knicks are a playoff team, and Mets are playing good ball, good times. I agree, Andrew. Listen, it was nice when, like, right away, it was like, boom, Knicks win, Yankees lose, Mets win. Nets just barely lost. We know Durant wasn't playing, so you'll take it. Pretty good day for, at least the teams that I root for. Nola today won 9 innings, 2 hits, and 10 Ks. Yes, Aaron Nola pitched very, very good, and he's one of the better pitchers in the National League, so that doesn't really surprise me. Plushy Adventures just put past movies the mole one. Okay. I think the best catch was overrated. The Hicks catch versus the Twins was way better. See, I saw on Twitter somebody said it was a 10% catch probability. So if that's the case, I mean, you do got to give credit where credit is due on that catch by Mookie Betts. I mean, given the situation of the game, that was really impressive. Do you think Edwin Diaz Mariner version has finally arrived? It might, David. I mean, listen, Edwin Diaz pitched very, very well in 2020, and I said, okay, but when fans were in attendance, how's he going to pitch? He still has pitched very well. He had one bad outing so far when DeGrom was pitching that game against the Marlins. But other than that, Diaz has been very, very good. These were one-run games that Diaz was able to get the save. And he saved the game for DeGrom yesterday. So, I mean, back-to-back days, Diaz looked excellent. So, I'm praying he keeps it up. Should Anibal Sanchez retire? No, he said he's looking for, the right opportunity. So, and that, I mean, it's still so early in the season. Who knows what other injuries are going to happen during the course of the regular season? So, that opportunity for Anibal Sanchez still could arrive. So, I don't think he should retire quite yet. On the offensive side, a lot of the players are slumped. Once they start getting a rhythm, the rest of the league should be scared. I agree, Charlie. That's the one thing we're waiting on. It's just the offense to get going. Are you going to get on the show? Andrew, I have it pre-ordered. I'm just patiently waiting for Tuesday. That's all I'm going to say, Andrew. I have it pre-ordered. So, yes, I am going to get – I'm getting MLB The Show, so I can't wait. Diaz returned to form last year. I agree. If it was 10%, then it was a great catch. I agree, Z. I mean, I saw someone say it was 10%, and again, if that's the truth, then, yeah, it was even better catch than it looked like from the eye test. The fact that the offense hasn't clicked and we're still winning is really exciting. Exactly, Elijah, and that goes back to rotation. I mean, you look at DeGrom and Marcus Stroman, both of them, their ERAs are under 1. These guys have 0 point blah, blah, blah ERAs. And Taijuan Walker's ERA looks really good. And obviously David Pearson pitched very well last time. So, I mean, that's why, even though the offense isn't hitting, they still could win because the starting rotation is doing so well. If Rick Porcello was pitching, if Robert Gsellman was starting games, guys like that, the Mets wouldn't be able to win these kind of close games. So, I mean, that's why having the rotation pitch well really makes it, makes it a big deal. Let's see what else we got. On Friday, the Yankees had more errors. The Yankees had a brutal game Friday. They were just throwing the ball all over the dang place. That was crazy. I think Diaz is a top 3 reliever, Z. I mean, so far, he's pitching like it, so that was really, really good. It's not a new song Diaz has used in Seattle. That is true, yes. Edwin Diaz, he did use, that nice little trumpets. That song is fire, dude. When he comes in with those trumpets, it's really exciting. But listen, if that gives him the juice, the vibes he needs, that's what's up. Bro, I got the game early. Pre-order the game is amazing. Oh, is it good, Andrew? That is great to hear. I'm really excited. I should have got the early access. I feel like a dummy. I was being cheap, bro. But that's good that it's good so far. I can't wait to play it. Tony Metro. Embarrassing. I didn't even realize I wasn't sub. Tony. Oh, my God. Tony, come on, man. It's all good, bro. Hey, listen, if you help the channel grow, that's all I can ask for, my man. Did Miami Marlins lose? Yes, William. The Marlins lost 1-0 to the San Francisco Giants. So a tough game for them there. What do you think about Trevor Bauer's suspect baseballs now being confiscated as a controversy? Do you think he will be suspended? I'm so glad we did not get him. I mean, how long does it take to investigate, though? I mean, Bauer's pitching today. So far, he was pitching pretty well. I haven't checked in a little while how well Bauer's been pitching, but listen, were there some suspicious stuff? Maybe. Will he get suspended? If he does, I don't think it'll be anything drastic. But it's not so much I'm happy that we didn't get Bauer. I'm happy that we got Taijuan Walker, because my stipulation with Bauer was I wanted him, but I said, if we don't get Bauer, let's at least get Walker. But the problem was you never heard, Mets are interested in Walker. Maybe the Mets are considering signing Walker. We didn't hear any traction between them. So I was like, if you're not going to get Bauer and not get Walker, how are you going to improve this rotation? So the fact that the Mets got Walker instead, I'm perfectly fine with that. The fact that we're able to retain Francisco Lindor, we'll see what happens. Like I said, with Conforto, Syndergaard, Stroman. Do we make other moves? I mean, Steve Cohen did say in a press conference at the beginning of the season, we're still going to be big-time players in the offseason for years to come. So maybe we could see some other big-time players be added to this team. That would be pretty exciting. Oh, Diaz has, I didn't know that. Yeah, Jonathan, it's hard to know the walk-up songs for everybody. We still get Cookie Monster and Lugo back. I like that Felix Cookie Monster. That's a good one. Are DeGrom, Stroman the best 1-2 punch in baseball right now? I mean, I think so. What other 1-2 is pitching that well? I mean, you could maybe make the case for Nola, Wheeler, but as of right now, the ERAs, the best are Stroman and DeGrom. So you have to give them the advantage so far. A Yankees franchise record, 37 Ks in the series. I mean, listen, Tampa Bay has the Yankees number. I mean, it is still true. Even though they don't have Blake Snell, they don't have Charlie Morton, they're still really, really doing well. If you play Diamond Dynasty, the 88 Dom is amazing. There are a ton of free grindable cards and gameplay has been good. That's all I could ask for, Andrew. Good grind, gameplay good, stuff is free. Dom does well. I mean, that's music to my ears, Andrew. That's why I love his Diamond Dynasty. James McCann, great signing, bat and glove. I mean, yeah, James McCann's bat is waking up a little bit. I still would like to see some more offense from him, but that throw was beautiful. He's done a good job calling the game. Framing is good. Relationship with pitchers are good. He had that one pass ball, but other than that, James McCann has been pretty good. I don't love the 4 years, but we'll see how it works out. But so far, pretty good. What else do we have? Frank, people think Hicks or Nimmo better than Nimmo. Listen, Benjamin, if anybody's saying that Aaron Hicks is better than Brandon Nimmo, they shouldn't be able to watch baseball anymore because they're way off. I mean, Brandon Nimmo is much better than Aaron Hicks. I mean, much better. Aaron Hicks is all or nothing. I mean, Mets fan says that his defense is suspect by the analytics, whatever. Nimmo is an on-base percentage machine. I mean, you see the graphic. For years, Brandon Nimmo is in the class of the Mike Trout and the Yelich's of the world, guys, top of the echelon players when it comes to getting on base. You can't say the same for Aaron Hicks. He's good at getting on base, but not Brandon Nimmo-like. Should Nats says make Juan Soto to a leadoff guy? I don't know, William. I feel like Juan Soto is such a good hitter. You kind of need him in the middle of the order. Have Trey Turner bat in front of him just to let Juan Soto drive in runs. Because if Juan Soto bats leadoff, you could just kind of walk him and then see what happens. Bro, you don't want this working in 1v1. I probably don't, Andrew, because you got a head start. So I could just have that advantage that you've had the game longer, and then I have my easy out. Our pitching staff's going to be legit when Thor and Cookie come back. I agree. Credit to McCann for Mets pitching. That's a good point, David. I mean, McCann definitely has gotten this rotation rolling. Andrew, you got Xbox. Yeah, listen, well, the good thing is that there's cross-play, Tony. So if Andrew has Xbox or PlayStation, all of us could play regardless of the system. Mets need to dump Barnes and get Shane Green. I mean, yeah, I want to see Drew Smith get called up. I want to see Vizcaíno get called up. I want to see Seth Lugo come back. So I don't think we need to go the Shane Green route quite yet because I do think that Shane Green wants a multi-year deal, and we see how that goes with relievers. So I don't want to do that quite yet. How do you feel about Bruce's retirement? Jonathan, I mean, it was kind of due. You know what I mean? He hasn't been playing well. He is getting older. He's going to lose his role with the Yankees, like I said, once Luke Voigt comes back. I mean, there are some people that just want to get rid of Jay Bruce altogether. Have LeMahieu play first, have Odor play second. So, I mean, it's unfortunate. He had the one good year when the Mets traded him, but when the Mets made the trade for him, he was awful when the Mets really needed him to produce. So Bruce was bad when the Mets were good, and then Bruce was good when the Mets were bad. So it was unfortunate, his tenure with the Mets. I know he's a really good guy, a good character individual. I'm all for that. So, wish Jay Bruce nothing but the best. But that's how it goes. I believe that we signed Jason McCann for 4 years. He is that good and much cheaper than Mutos. But, I mean, listen, we can't do anything about it now. Hindsight is 20/20. So we just got to hope for the best with this McCann contract. He can just keep getting rolling. This is my thing about the Yankees. They have many strikeout guys like Stanton, Sanchez, and Judge and Voigt. All those guys can hit home runs, but they strike out ton. Exactly, Benjamin. I mean, that has been the case for the Yankees for years now. I mean, you see all these guys, they have unquestionable power, but they also have a lot of strikeouts. So you can get a game for the Yankees where they give you 10 runs. But you also get a game for the Yankees where they give you 2 runs because they strike out so much. So, I mean, I feel like that's going to be their doom in the postseason yet again. PS4, talking about that work. Yankees going to sign to take his spot. I don't know if the Yankees are going to sign anybody quite yet, but we'll see. Trevor Hildenberg is even better than Barnes and got called up. Like Trevor Hildenberger got called up sometime last week when Dylan Betances was on the IL, but this is the first time the Mets actually let Trevor Hildenberger pitch, and of course he pitched well. I mean, Hildenberger was good all spring training, gave up 1 run, so I really hope that Trevor Hildenberger could keep it up because I love that delivery. That sidearm submarine action is a really good weapon to have in your bullpen. You know, to have a guy that could come in and really give the hitters a completely different look, that could give the Mets a big-time advantage for a bullpen that we know can need the help of guys not named Castro Diaz. So I love what I see from Hildenberger, and hopefully he gets more opportunities. So let the guy pitch a little more. Mothman involved. Offense is shaky. Oh, it is Mothman. You know, listen, it looks a lot like the beginning of 2020 where you get a bunch of guys on base, but then you strand them, whether that's by strikeout or by double plays. So eventually the Mets kind of figured that out. You know, they got better as the year progressed with runners on base. So you hope that the same happens this year. If the Giants fall out of the race, maybe the Mets could pull off a trade for Jake McGee. Listen, Tony, the Mets should have signed Jake McGee when he was a free agent. I mean, I would hate to have to lose pieces to get Jake McGee when the guy was available all off season. But, I mean, we'll see. The Giants, so far, they've been playing pretty well, but he's a guy to keep an eye out for. There's no doubt about that. Judge and Stanton aren't top 10 to 200 points. Yes, I mean, those guys get hurt all the time, no doubt. There's been rumors that the Yankees are in on Story and Seager. Cashman will pay them 2 years, $6 million for them. I mean, yeah, the Yankees need to do something. I mean, Corey, I don't think they'll be able to get Corey Seager. I don't see the Dodgers trading him. But Trevor Story, that could definitely happen because, you know, Trevor Story is on the expiring year of his contract with Colorado. Colorado sucks again. Trevor Story does not want to be there. Colorado does not want to re-sign him. So you got to get the most out of a guy that talented. And him to the Yankees would be a pretty good move because you can move Glaber over to second. We know Glaber is much better at second than short. So Yankees got to do something. I mean, would Trevor Story fix the Yankees? All of a sudden they win the World Series? I don't think he's that kind of guy. They have problems in the rotation outside of Garrett Cole that they got to get resolved. Should they sign Ryan Zimmerman a 3-year, $9 million next year? No, you can't give Zimmerman 3 more years. I imagine he's only got a year, maybe 1 more after this. I know Zimmerman got off to a good start, but he really can't have that many more years left up in him. Next season, we're signing a premier third baseman. That's what I'm intrigued by, Mothman. Are the Mets going to sign a third baseman, or are they going to sign a shortstop and move them to third base? Like, would you sign a Javi and move them to third? Would you sign a Correa or move them to third? Like, will the Mets get a traditional third baseman, or will they look elsewhere and try to move somebody over? But we'll see. Benjamin, you're drunk. No way that Seager and Story are $2 million. No, I mean, he's just joking, Steven, about Benjamin. They're actually going to give him $6 million. I mean, you're going to give him a way more than that. Yankees won't afford Judge. I imagine the guy resigned. He's the face of the lineup. What does a Nemo extension look like in your opinion? I think if you got it done now, probably nothing crazy. I mean, I don't have a number off the top of my head, but I don't know why. Like, I would have to really look into it, but I don't think it's anything crazy, Andrew. Like, listen, the earlier you can re-sign Nemo, the cheaper it's going to cost because if he continues to play well, his value goes up. If he gets to free agency, you take that risk of other teams just giving him a ton of money. So, I mean, I just don't want to let it get to that. If we could just re-sign Nemo now, I'd be all for it. Go after a lead shortstop. Baez, the Mets would be perfect. I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I feel like Javi Baez is such a talented infielder that he plays multiple infield positions. I feel like he could slide over to third, but he might not be the guy we're going for. Like, do we want Chris Bryant? Do we make a trade for Kyle Seager? I mean, we'll see what happens next offseason. We're still only in April of this year. So, you know, let's let the year roll out before we do it. Will we trade J.D. Davis at the deadline? We'll see how the year plays out, Jonathan. I think it's possible, though. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate that J.D. Davis, because he got hurt the 10 days, so he has to come back, get his rhythm all over again. But, I mean, he could. But that depends what's the Mets' biggest problem. Frank, has there been any rumors on Correa? Not that I've seen, Benjamin. I mean, he makes sense for a guy to trade because we know the Astros are not re-signing Carlos Correa. They're not even close to what he's looking for. He's looking for a good amount of money. And you know what? The Astros, they still have a pretty nice roster. Do they want to make one more run at it? Maybe. You know, they were 1 game away from going to the World Series last year. Obviously, they lost George Springer. They have other injuries in the rotational guys like Framber Valdez. But as of right now, no rumors yet on Correa. But who knows? Maybe come trade deadline time, that could change things. I doubt Cohen sits on his hands. No, I think that if there's a move to be made that we all see, like, listen, The New York Mets think that you have got to make a move to really take your team to the next level. Cohen's season, he's going to make that move. So I don't see Cohen just sitting around doing nothing. But as of right now, you don't really have a need to do anything. You know what? Let's see Lugo come back. Let's see Syndergaard and Carrasco come back. And then we really know what kind of team we have. Let the offense get a rhythm. Then we know, all right, what move should we make? I was thinking Trout money. That would hurt us, Andrew. I mean, no, Andrew's just joking. You're not going to give him Trout money. But, I mean, do you give $100 million to Nimmo? I guess it depends on the amount of years. I feel like if you could do like a 5 to 6 year deal, that's where I would like to be. I mean, you don't want to really go 7 and above. That's always risky. Even though Nimmo still is young, you hate going 7 and above. Mets are in on Moth. They want to sign for $400 million, 10 years with edible clothing line included in the contract. Sounds good to me, Moth, man. Sign me up. That definitely is a pretty good contract. It's going to be tough for the Yankees to sign top shortstop because they have Stanton and Garrett Cole on 300-something contracts. Yeah, no, that is tough, Stephen A. I mean, they signed DJ LeMahieu to a $100 million deal last year. They're right up against the luxury tax threshold. So, you know, they had to make some moves like, you know, not re-signing Masahiro Tanaka. So they can't really make a big-time splash unless they offload money elsewhere. Nimmo definitely worth $20 million. Yeah, I agree, Tony. He is worth that AAV number. I mean, because Brandon Nimmo, like, he just does so much for a team. You know, good clubhouse guy, gets on base at such an elite rate, and just really has been very good and continues to improve. So I love what I'm seeing. Clocking out. I'll be back here next year. Thanks, Elijah. I appreciate you checking in. Nimmo should get Fletcher money, like $30 million if it is. Now, I wish we could do that Fletcher contract. It's so hard to do, though, because Fletcher is really young, so you can kind of get away with it. That's like Ozzie Albies. Like, the Braves got a steal because Albies was so young that, like, even though the money he's getting paid now doesn't seem like a lot compared to other infielders, compared to what Albies was making at the time, that was a big raise for him. Like, that's the kind of contract I want to offer Jeff McNeil. Since McNeil's still young, I want to offer him a money that's a raise for him to maybe get away with a little bit of a steal. 7 years that bad. Ricky was getting on base for them. That's when he was 40. I mean, yeah, but we're not talking about Ricky Henderson here. I mean, Nimmo's good, but we're not talking about Ricky Henderson. When can Nats replace at first base when Ryan Zimmerman in retirement? Do they want to sign Freddie Freeman? I know he's a free agent, but I mean, I have to look at the first base market next year, and then the Nationals could decide what they want to do at first. I mean, they do have Josh Bell. I mean, Josh Bell could kind of be the first baseman of the future. We'll see if there is a DH next year. I don't know. I mean, I imagine there will be, but I don't think that's set in stone because there's no DH this year. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen there. Yeah, Young plays a good party. Nimmo is better than Fletcher. I mean, they're both good. I'd have to think about who's better. Crazy how many draft picks Sandy actually hit on better than most players. And that's a good point, Michael. I mean, also, like, the guys that were drafted much later in the draft, you know, guys like a DeGrom, guys like a Jeff McNeil. I mean, these were not first-round picks. And Sandy Olsen did very well on them. Didn't hit on all of them, but, you know, guys like Nimmo, Conforto, Dom Smith, Pete Alonso, a lot of these draft picks turned out to be very, very good. I mean, Nimmo's 20, so he's not that young. No, I agree, Andrew. He's not that young, so you can't really get away with a really cheap deal. So you can't do a Fletcher contract. Bell has so much power, he could be a DH. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It depends if there's a DH. But also, Benjamin, wouldn't you want Kyle Schwarber to be your DH? Because he's a guy that is not the best defensively. So, I mean, that's something that the Nationals have to consider when it comes to who's going to be first base, who's going to be DH. Can that sign Josh Bell to a 5-year contract or more? I mean, they could. If Josh Bell does well in his first year with the Washington Nationals, I mean, why wouldn't you want to re-sign the guy? You traded for him. He's got a lot of power, switch hitter. He's an intriguing player. We'll see. Micah who? I mean, we're talking about Micah from Red Dead Redemption. I mean, what are we talking about? Schwarber's a bad defender. He is a bad defender. But, I mean, with no DH, that's the price you pay. Listen, all these National League East teams are doing with it. Dom Smith's in the outfield for the Mets. Ozuna's in the outfield for the Braves. Garrett Cooper's in the outfield for the Marlins. So everybody's dealing with bad defensive outfielders in the division. Have you been happy so far with the bench and bullpen? I won't say I've been happy with the bullpen, but I will say that I've been happy that Castro and Diaz have pitched well. You know, Loop had that big outing that other time. Familia's been inconsistent. Jacob Barnes hasn't pitched great. Hildenberger pitched well. So it's been a little inconsistent. The bench has been pretty good. I mean, when you consider that VR got 2 big hits so far this year, you know, 2 walk-offs pretty much, you know, 2 game-winning hits. Pilar, I kind of hope for more from his bat. Luis Guillorme has been pretty good as well. Tomas Nido, he does a good job defensively. Albert Almora, we've only seen very, very little of. But, I mean, it hasn't been too bad. McCann throw was surprisingly great after 101 from Diaz. Yeah, the throw was beautiful. The pitch was beautiful. The tag was beautiful. Everything about that last play was great, no doubt. our pitchers can hit. That is very true, Jonathan. We have some of the best hitters, for pitchers in the league, probably. Sandy Hill, a lot of his picks, but also has some big misses. Picked Cicchini over Seager. Yeah, that was probably the biggest miss. I mean, for the first round pick, Gavin Cicchini was not the guy. I mean, again, hindsight is always 2020, but that definitely was unfortunate. Imagine if we got Seager instead. Be looking at a really different Mets team right now. Crazy possible. Nolan wins MVP with St. Louis and upside. Mets give him back. It could happen. It could happen, Andrew, but I feel like Nolan would be crazy to turn down all the money he's getting paid. Like, do you think the Mets are going to top the offer that he already has with Colorado? And, does Nolan Arenado want to be a Met? Like, he looked like he wanted to be a Cardinal. Like, that's something that was intriguing to him. He wanted to be with Paul Goldschmidt. So maybe Nolan Arenado plays out the rest of that contract with St. Louis. But, I mean, listen, he would definitely be a nice third baseman to have there next to Francisco Lindor. If you'd have to give up any young piece to get him, if you could just get him as a free agent, that would be the best case scenario. Jock Pearson and Schwarber are both on one-year deals, right? Correct. Yes, Benjamin, they both are on one-year deals. Can Nats trade? Trade who? Or trade for what? Could you see Thor and Stroh getting new Mets contracts next year? I could see it happening with Syndergaard. Stroman, not so much. I think that the Mets are playing it smart with they know that Marcus Stroman, like, you're going to get a good year for him this year probably, and then you don't know what's going to happen. So take your good year, and if somebody offers Stroman a crazy amount of money, just let him go. But Noah Syndergaard is more of a, built more of a homegrown guy. I know they traded for him with Toronto, but I just feel that Noah Syndergaard is more of a Sandy Alston guy, so I think that Sandy Alston leans Noah Syndergaard over Marcus Stroman. But we'll see how they pitch. Like, if Stroman pitches way better than Syndergaard, maybe that changes the whole scenario of who you want to keep over the other guy. Let's see. What's the biggest need the Mets have? It's probably more good relievers, Tony. I mean, I just don't think that you really could get away with just Diaz and Castro pitching well. Eventually, you're really going to need some other relievers to step up. So, like I said, Lugo's going to come back, but you still need more guys than that. What else do we have? Wow, Phillip Evans is finally hitting on the Pirates. Yeah, he's a big-time prospect. So, I mean, good for Phillip Evans. Bro, you got to DM me on Twitter. You get your Mets camera. I do have to do that, Andrew. You're right. I completely forgot about that. LOL, Jonathan. Diamondbacks release and Schwartz. Okay. Thank you for the update. I didn't know that the Diamondbacks released a player today. But Frank Vincent, what is up, my man? How about your Phillies and how about my New York Metropolitans? How does it feel to not be in first place right now? And listen, it's a good chance to see the Mets in first because you know what? Did they spend any time in first place last year? I barely even remember. So maintain your lead. You're in first place. Just keep winning series. I mean, again, that's all you really could do when it comes down to baseball. And you get to go to Wrigley. There might be some snow in the forecast. It's going to be cold again. It's tough to get the bats going with cold weather. You hope that, once the weather heats up and, guys are more loose and everything, they really could get the ball flying. And we'll see what happens. Will there be some wind in your favor in Wrigley Field? That's always something to consider. It is a place that the wind could really have a big impact, maybe more so later on in the year. But I'm excited to see what happens. Take advantage of that Cubs pitching that is not very good. Again, just fingers crossed that the weather is good. We cannot have more games being canceled because, again, it just messes up this rhythm, and it's going to take it even longer for these Mets hitters to get it going. It's going to make it take even longer to see Dom Smith really make it happen, see Jeff McNeil, see Francisco Lindor really get their bats going. Chicago up next. What's the rotation? Walker, Pearson, DeGrom. You got it, Tony. Ding, ding, ding. That is the three that are due up for the Mets. Taijuan Walker, David Pearson, and Jacob DeGrom. So I'm really excited. Do you think the Mets could really go after Brian or Baez? I think it depends, Benjamin. Like, if there is such a glaring need at third base that, like, it's the difference maker between the Mets, making the division or not making the division, they could go for it. But we know that the Cubs have got to come down on that asking price. So a few things need to happen here. Mets need to play well. Mets need to have a glaring need at third base. Cubs need to play bad, and the Cubs have to lower their asking price for Chris Bryant because we know they're asking for Francisco Alvarez. That is not happening. So I just think that there's a lot of things that have to break right for the Mets to make that move. But it's something that I am considering. I mean, or at least I would be considering. But again, they have to come to that asking price. And we'll see what happens by the time we get there. If J.D. Davis is playing really well and Chris Bryant is not playing well by the time we're in July, then that move is not really what you should be doing. Nola had a complete game shutout today, struck out 10, 0 walks. So yes, Aaron Nola did pitch very well today. I said earlier in the stream he's one of the best pitchers in the National League. So, I mean, good for Aaron Nola. But we had a DH and no off day, so DeGrom is actually going against the Cubs. Yeah, DeGrom is going on Thursday, so, I mean, that's very good. Well, Bryant is the top 10 third baseman in my opinion, but Alvarez is crazy though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it goes both ways. The other problem too about Chris Bryant is the fact that he's on the last year of his deal. He's getting older. He looks like his best year might be behind him. So, I mean, I don't know. I know this ain't a fantasy baseball chat, but should I get Maikel Franco because my third baseman are hitting? I haven't looked at Maikel Franco's numbers right now, Jonathan Williams, so I'm not really sure. I'm not the top guy to ask for that. I don't want to mess up your fantasy team. Tony, I love a Ben Zobrist type guy to complete this team, guy that is clutch, bats most positions, arguably the heart and soul that rolls from it. Listen, Tony, we have it in Jonathan VR. He plays multiple positions. He's a switch hitter. He gets big hits. Maybe Jonathan VR is that guy. Jet Lowry needs to be acquired. Well, listen, Andrew, now that his knee is fixed, I mean, why not, right? That could be your Ben Zobrist type guy, Tony. Off the bench, Jet Lowry comes in and makes some things happen. Can Nash trade for Anthony Rizzo at the trade deadline for future first baseman? That's not a bad idea, William. I think that the Cubs do want to try to re-sign Anthony Rizzo because you know what? You have Rizzo on the last year of his deal. You have Baez on the last year, Chris Bryant the last year, Wilson Contreras on his last year of his contract. You imagine the Cubs want to re-sign somebody, and I feel like that guy probably will be Anthony Rizzo. Why is DeGrom so good? I don't even know at this point anymore, Vincent. He is just so good. Do you think that the Mets could trade for Story at the deadline and have him play third? They could, but I mean, the thing is that Trevor Story hasn't really played third, so I don't know how that would go. I feel like that'd be a little bit of a risk. VR is about 4 cents below Zobrist, but I hope I'm proving wrong. Yeah, I'm just messing around, Tony. I mean, what other versatility guys are really out there that you can make a trade for? I really have to look at what that market looks like right now. But you always could use it, like you said, upgrade to the bench. You know, those guys, you know, you feel like every team really has somebody like that. You know, that guy off the bench that just does so many different things that they fill in these multiple positions. They get the big pinch hit. Yeah, I feel like Howie Kendrick was that guy for the Nationals, where they just do so many different things for your team. So I feel like Marlon Gonzalez was that guy for the Houston Nationals when they won. Brock Holkind did it for the Red Sox when they won their World Series. So, I mean, there's just so many teams that have that all-around guy that could do so many things. That's how you win championships. And, you know, you hope that VR can kind of bring that, but that could be something they consider at the deadline. Like, if that's a glaring need, I'm sure the Mets will try to make that move. You know, maybe they get a reliever at the deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that also. But, again, it still is so early in the season. So far, so good. We're in first place. I'm happy. And did you say Kike as well? Yes, no, I didn't even mention that. That's who helped the Dodgers. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. You know, you always have that one guy that is that versatility guy. Good point, Vincent. Jed was coming off an all-star year when they signed him. He was, and then he had the injury, and the Wilpons didn't want him to get the knee surgery, and things never worked. Struble Flores, lefty kills off the bench. Yeah, man, I wouldn't mind bringing Wilmer Flores back in. Seager just made another error. Now the most two players with the most errors playing the same position. Oh my gosh, really? For the Dodgers Padres game, Corey Seager just made an error. Oh no, throwing error by Corey Seager, not good. Oh boy, not what you want to see. Seager and Tatis. I know I've seen Tatis have a few errors already. All right, guys. If we don't have any questions, I'm going to go record a podcast for the Mets Universe, which I will post on Twitter when that podcast is up. So I'm going to record that at 7 with those guys. So if we don't have any final questions, I will have to end the stream here. I hope to be back Tuesday. You know, check out Tony Metro's channel. Check out Andrew Acevedo's channel. Baseball Talk with Hayden, Elias, Mets fans only, Mets fan from YouTube, whatever the heck he makes a video on, I don't know when that's going to be. You know, I almost took longer than him, but we'll see. Corey Seager, Corey Seager is not a great defensive shortstop. He's there for his offense. He's an offensive shortstop. Listen, Lindor's not hitting, but his defense has been tremendous. All right, so thank you so much, everybody. Love all you guys. Thank you for tuning in, whether it's now, before, or in the future. Until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Let's go, Mets. Bye, everybody.